We take over.
Yeah, good morning. Nice to have everyone on a Saturday morning. Lockdown has changed our perspective of week of the day. In fact, I had one meeting with government on Sunday night. So now everything has changed, and once things change, they stay as they are, and the new word for it is this is the new normal now. So maybe 24/7 is the new normal now. Well, I started working in 1981 and coming from traditional second generation custom broker background, we have seen what was customs in 1981 and now almost after 40 years, what we see today is completely different. The technology is different. The laws are different. From a regulator, now customs has become the foremost facilitator. We also see is customs is one of the earliest assimilator of technology. No government department or even private sector is fast and I would say in hurry to assimilate and adopt the latest technology, and they also are ensuring that all other stakeholders are assimilating the technology. And I have been attending World Customs Organization meetings for last 6 years, so we know what's happening on the global scene. And I am proud that India has leadership in many areas, and one such area includes single window. That's where the world has been watching us. Well, now we have faceless customs. We also are talking about globally connected customs, and already customs has assimilated usage of artificial intelligence. In fact, I am looking for a day where customs is able to monetize data to an extent where there won't be any custom duty, and the data which customs can have for processing and monetizing itself will be their biggest revenue source. It may seem far-fetched or maybe a little bit funny or ridiculous today, but maybe 5 years from now, this would be the reality. So with this, I welcome Mr. Balwan, Mr. Babulal Meena, and all other custom officers, my colleagues, Vijay Kumar, Karunakar, then my background team who has organized this webinar. With this, back to the organizers, thank you, and we are happy to have this session today. We hope we will go back more enlightened and more tech savvy. Thank you.
Thank you. We request Mr. Vijay Kumar to now introduce Mr. Balwan, and we can then start the presentation. So unmute yourself, Mr. Vijay. Mr. Vijay, you need to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Once again, welcome Dr. M.G. Tamilvalavan and Mr. Babulal Meena, my co-panelists, and all the viewers. A very good morning to all of you. In this silver jubilee year of the first introduction of EDI platform way back in 1995, Customs should be proud of the digital progress that they have made.
I think Vijay
the association are proud of the
have his video off so that we can hear it
and seamless transition. A look back shows that EDI to IceGate to RMS to version ICS2 has consumed over a decade and a half. But shift to eSanjit to Turant to faceless assessment to e-gate pass has happened in less than 5 years. The stride is amazing, and at times even industry is struggling to keep the pace. The COVID-19 and the lockdown has many negatives: health, economy, safety, stability, growth, etc. But one positive for sure is the speed of digitization by the CBIC during this period of social distancing. Customs invaded the entire domain of cross-border trade and replaced the faceless, paperless, contactless era. This is a new beginning. And as the chairman in our last webinar confirmed that before the year 2020, the entire activities of the customs clearance will be digitalized. On the SWIFT, Article 10.4 of the TFA specifies single window formation. Members are encouraged to establish or maintain a single window to allow traders to submit documents and data requirements through a single entry point and just once. Indian customs have done justice to the trade facilitation agreement by introducing and implementing a true single window concept. They have integrated various PGS like plant quarantines, drug controllers, Foods and Safety Authority of India, animal quarantine, and almost all that about 49 PGAs. In the bargain, all the stakeholders have reaped the benefits. The government, of course, better compliances, effective usage of resources, revenue generation, and single point of contact. And of course, customs improved the productivity, reduced the process time, and visible working atmosphere. In general, this has converted multiple activities to single point from data entry to delivery. SWIFT, in fact, triggered the rapid progression of digitized customs. When it was introduced in the 1st of April 2016, no one visualized in a period of 4 years we will have e-Sanjit, Turant, faceless, paperless, and contactless process, and it is really a game changer of the entire customs clearance activity. On the day of introducing SWIFT, the comment made by the CBEC then and CBIC now was, single window interface for facilitating trade provides a single point interface for clearance and is expected to reduce the documentation and cost. It is expected to cover the benefit over 97% of the Indian imports. It is really true. We stand with CBIC in all their innovations, trade facilitations, and no pandemic can stop our progress. I look forward to hear and learn from our expert, Dr. M.G. Tamilvalavan, Commissioner of Customs, as much as all of you. Before I just hand over to Mr. Tamilvalavan, I will give you a brief about Mr. Dr. M.G. Tamilvalavan. He is a Bachelor of Veterinary Science, Master in Economics. He has done postgraduate program in Public Policy and Management from Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. An officer of 1995 batch, working as Commissioner, RI&I in Central Board of Indirect Tax and Customs. He is also looking after a single window project of CBIC. He has served in Central Excise and Customs and DRI. He had also worked as Central Secretary and Director on CBEC. He was part of a working group under Canadian International Development Agency project for reforming Central Excise and Service Tax in India in early 2000s. Assisted the task force on indirect taxes headed by Vijay Kelkar in 2002. Part of task force on cadre restructuring in 2002. Part of task force in review Customs Act in 2017 and received Presidential Award in 2017. With this, I request Dr. M.G. Tamilvalavan to please address this gathering, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir. Yes.
You are audible.
Yes. So, at the outset, I would like to thank the organizers, the AMTOY and FFI AI, and in particular, Mr. Vipin Vora, who made the first contact on this program. And even though I am on leave for the past 2 weeks, so since this is an outreach program, I thought I will come to office today and give this presentation. And I also thank Mr. Vijay Kumar my old friend, good old friend, for a good encomiums he showered on me. With this, I will go to my presentation. Again, I'm not able to share my presentation.
Now you can share, sir. Now you are presenting.
Let me.
I think rest of us can put our video off so that the bandwidth will be good for the entire network.
Yeah, I think it's visible to all. Is it visible? Presentation.
It's just starting. Yes, now
Now
it's
it is.
visible.
Now it's
Visible.
Yes, it's visible now.
Okay, I'll start. So I would like to, my presentation scheme is like this. I will touch upon the drivers for all these initiatives. So what drives this reform process as such? And then I will briefly deliberate on single window, national single window project of customs. Thereafter, we will see what are all the other reforms we have undertaken the last 4 or 5 years. And finally, I'll also briefly present about the faceless assessment that was introduced in Bengaluru and Chennai in June. All right. So these are all the drivers for all the initiatives we are taking in the last 5 or 6 years. We have World Trade Organization, which has successfully concluded World WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement, and we have a World Customs Organization, and they are through revised Kyoto Convention. They are targeting procedure-related simplification in the entire customs processes. And as we all know, the buzzword of today's Indian economy is ease of doing business, and all the countries are competing with each other to get better ranking in the World Bank Ease of Doing Business report. In the Ease of Doing Business index, trading across borders is one of the major elements, and there we as Customs Department play a very crucial role. So this is how our customs functions evolved over the years. Initially, time immemorial, the customs started as a revenue collecting body, and after post-World War or just post-industrialization world, the customs started functioning as a protector of domestic industry through tariffs. And in recent times, protection of society, health, safety, prevention of drug trafficking, firearms, environment, etc. And then now in the last few decades, we more focus on economic development, trade, investment, and and we can attract more trade and more investment. We can become open to trade if we go in for a trade facilitation mode. And of late, national security along with facilitation has come into prominence. So there, customs is trying to strike a balance between facilitation and securing the national interests. And finally, the framework of standards C21 brought out by World Customs Organizations. So this is the framework of standards of World Customs Organizations. So he talks about coordinated customs, intelligence-driven risk management, customs trade partnership, modern methods, enabling technology, enabling powers, professional service culture, capacity building, integrity, and globally networked customs. So what are all the areas? If you see, this is the C21 agenda WCO has brought out, and every one of us will realize Indian customs is present in all the circles, is doing some or the other activity in all the circles. If you see coordinated border management is of two kinds. Between two countries, for example, India and Bangladesh, we can have an integrated customs check post that we are not envisaging now, but internally, multiple agencies are there. Through single window, we are coordinating that border. Then intelligence-driven risk management, we know we have enhanced I will come in the later slides. Customs trade partnership, we have a lot of examples where actively we are engaged with customs and trade. For example, the uncleared cargo is one of the finest example where we developed an application with the help of Safest Association. And similarly, warehousing also, we have developed similar applications. And of course, customs trade partnership is not a new thing. Ever since the Customs Act came into being, we partnership with the trade, especially the customs brokers and other stakeholders. And modern methods, enabling technology, no need for any explanation. And professional service culture and capacity building and integrity, that is internally we are doing a lot of things to bring in transparency and improve the integrity. So this is briefly about a trade facilitation agreement. The TFA contains commitments about host of measures, mainly simpler and harmonized documentation and procedure for movement of goods across international borders. It focuses on expediting the movement, release and clearance of goods, including goods in transit. That's where these two are the major provisions of TFA, where customs has to play a very important role. And the pillars of the WTO trade facilitation agreement is transparency, procedure, and infrastructure, and of course, technology. So these are all the TFA pillars. I'll rush through these things. Transparency, what are all the things should be there? Publication of information, inquiry points, opportunity to comment, measures to enhance impartiality, prior consultation, technology, improve IT-based services and compliance, single window and coordinated border management, globally networked customs, non-intrusive inspection systems, radiation, and nuclear portals. The other two pillars are procedures and infrastructure, where infrastructure we don't have much to play as customs. Procedures, of course, uniformity and clarity in procedures, uniform documentation requirements, simplified procedures for perishables, faster clearance, procedures for expedited shipments, pre-arrival processing, and risk-based approach. So these are all the four pillars of TFA on which all the articles have been built up. So with this introduction to the drivers, I will now come to major initiatives in the last 5-6 years. We all know there is an enhanced facilitation through risk management systems, and technically, theoretically, it is possible for 90% facilitation, even though we are not achieving to the fullest potential. In some cases, it touches 75 to 80, not all along. But our aim is to reach 90%. That is what Prime Minister's office has given mandate. And introduction of revised authorized economic operators program. There is a typo here. Please pardon me. And third is direct port delivery and direct port entry. And express cargo clearance system at Mumbai. And we have done, we have come out with a new auditing protocol also. When we talk about technology-driven customs, one of the main aspects of technology-driven components is reducing the paper and digitalization. And UNESCAP, Economic and Social Council for Asia, this Asia Pacific region, there is a framework convention on paperless processes. And it identifies, this framework convention identifies various processes which can be made paperless. And these are all these things: electronic submission of customs declarations, electronic single window system, electronic application of a permits and license, and electronic submission of cargo manifest, electronic application of issuance of preferential certificates of origin, e-payment of customs duties, and electronic applications of customs refunds, law and regulations for electronic commerce, digital certification, engagement with other countries in data exchange in relation to cross-border trade transactions, certificate of origin, and sanitary and phytosanitary certificates. So these are all the areas UNESCAP Framework Convention identified, and where Indian customs stands, we will see in the next slide. So same components, I just highlighted what all the things we are yet to do. Electronic applications and issuance of preferential certificate of origin, we have to do. Law and regulations for electronic commerce, that is on the anvil, and engagement with other countries. These three major areas we are yet to do. Otherwise, we have almost done all the other aspects of paperless processing as identified by the Framework Convention of UNESCAP. In the cross-border with the other countries also, we are having small initiatives in various silos. So now I have mooted a proposal to integrate all these processes under single umbrella. We have one with Russia, we have one with the Benelux countries, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, and Singapore is interacting with us for paperless digital transmission of documents. These all will take shape in another year or two, where with select countries we'll go for paperless transmission of certificates. So now let us turn on to National Single Window. It is a 5-year-old topic. I'll rush through these slides very quickly. This is the basic objective of National Single Window project: ease of doing business, one-stop solution, reduction in transaction cost, reduction in interface, leveraging technology, most complex system for integration of government business process. As you know, the single window is a very complex system. The objectives of the National Single Window is customs as a single point of contact, simplification of procedures, paperless systems, and ultimately it should reduce the dwell time and ease of doing business. And these are all the key features. Actually, national single window have 3 major components we envisaged in 2014. First component is relating to SWIFT, single window interface for facilitation of trade, where it comprises of integrated declaration, automated routing, and integrated risk assessment online release. These are all the parts of SWIFT. We identified 6 partner government agencies. These agencies involved in sampling and testing of consignments, which require such sampling and testing before clearance, and they give NOC. These agencies, we all know, animal quarantine, plant quarantine, food safety, Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, Textile Committee, and Drug Controller. Next part of single window project is paperless processing. We started in 2017, what we call it as e-Sanchit. Initially, it started wherein beneficiaries would upload the supporting documents. And later, we expanded to all the regulatory agencies, where regulatory agencies will issue the certificate and upload the document to our portal and communicate the image reference number. I'll explain this essentially a little while. And then third major components is complaints information portal. That is also we have a prototype we have developed, and we are collecting feedback from the trade. And this automatic license verification, as I already, it is part of eSanchit only. And future enhancement of a single window project is e-payment of all the PGS charges, event notification system, that is partly we are implementing now, and appointment management system. So this is the core components of the single windows project, which was envisaged in 2014. And we are all aware about almost 90% of the work has been completed now. And this is now with a brief introduction of a single window, we'll come to paperless processes. That is eSanchit, one of the major components of single window. What are all the processes? Importer, exporter, or custom broker to file digitally signed document, to file digitally signed supporting documents, release decisions conveyed electronically to logistics operators, eliminate routine printouts, and share. So how it works evolved in various phases, we will see. eSanchit is license permit certificate is issued electronically, referred to as supporting document. It is accessible online to single window, and document issuer transmit the data to single window system or permits online access to database. In this eSanchit, what are all the verification point? So we have an image reference number or document reference number. We call it as IRN. It will have the beneficiary party. It will have the issuing agency, issuing date, and validity date. These details will be there. These are all the things which can be verified so that any malpractices can be checked. When we say about eSanchit, talk about eSanchit, we are implementing in multiple phases. The first phase, we started in 2017. This is how it worked. And the document, e-document, or scanned hard copy through scanning, converted into PDF. This PDF, with the use of digital signature, uploaded in IceGate, and unique number is generated. It goes to the CBIC e-document repository. This unique number is communicated to customs broker. Customs broker will in turn refer this number while filing the declaration. This was the first phase. Second phase, what we said, instead of customs broker, we roped in PGAs or participating government agencies or regulatory agencies. They will upload the PDF through digital signature, and they will communicate this unique number to all the beneficiaries, and such number will be quoted by the beneficiary while filing declaration. This is phase 3. Phase 2, it is we have implemented. Phase 3, we are testing, we are having pilot with very few agencies. Mr. Meena will correct, I think 4 agencies we are doing to start with hydrocarbons. There we plan to do API integration. And this also we have 2 sub-phases. One is PDF document will be fetched by IceGate, our system, through API. Second is data will be captured, data elements will be captured. That is the ultimate aim, and that will be very useful for future data analytics. So this is where we stand on automatic license verification, or e-Sanchit we popularly call. 120 plus documents we have identified involving 53 agencies. And these 53 agencies covers almost 90 to 95% of our imports and exports. And out of 53, we have already roped in 51 agencies. The 2 agencies, or one is Information and Broadcasting Ministry, the other is Wireless Planning and Coordination. We are vigorously pursuing them to bring them on board. So this is about e-Sanchit. The next major topic is faceless assessment. Before going to faceless assessment, I would like to browse on various other reforms we have done. In the last year, if you say, web-based good registration and enhanced online services we introduced, machine-based goods released, clearance with least intervention, digitally signed e-Sanchit, of course, and we also started an outreach through complaints information portal, and to nudge the stakeholders, especially customs brokers and importers, we have introduced EODB scorecard, and we have also streamlined some processes and infrastructure report. So this is the web-based goods registration, what we introduced last year. The importers self-registered the goods online on IceGate on arrival. As you all know, previously importers had to approach customs officer. Now 83% of importers avail this facility, and we are giving priority for AEOs. And this web-based goods registration cuts one processes by customs officers, thereby it frees the customs officers for other works, especially when we have huge number of vacancies in all the customs formations. It also helps in reduction in time and cost. The next one is main machine release. Customs automated systems automatically gives clearance of imported goods when all the compliances are met. It delinks registration from duty payment, and it further reduces the dwell time. Customs officer will be able to do all comprehensive verifications such as examination of goods even before duties are paid, making processes parallel rather than sequential, leading to substantial reduction in time and cost. This initiative was introduced in Mumbai and Chennai in February 2020. And March 2020, we have expanded to all other locations. So if you go to the previous slide, web-based goods registration, I have given this circular number also. For more information, you can visit our website and refer to the circular 9 of 2019. And for this mission release, we have 5 of 2020 and 15 of 2020. These two circulars will give all the requisite information. I would like to request all the participants, if they are interested, they can go and read the circulars for more details. Next reform we introduced in the recent times is electronic delivery of customs copy. Dispensing with the requirement of importer presenting physical print of bill of entry for signing the duty officer. Secure QR code enabled PDF copy, and after a long time we are having printout, what do I say, attractive printout, I can say. Gone are the days we used to have that dot matrix printed invisible printout of bill of entry. Now this PDF will be mailed to them and they can take printout, and it looks attractive also. And since we are doing in PDF, I suggested to GG Systems, so why can't we introduce the old color codes? So they have done, I think they have done that color coding also, white bill of entry, buff or brown bill of entry, and yellow bill of entry kind of things for easy identification. Similarly on export, e-gate pass, PDF copy, and it goes without saying, it results in reduction of time, saves printing and storage and associated cost, and it saves a lot of trees also, and it reduces the human interface. So how it works: oversee governed by officer in customs, importer to visit service. This is the present system. Importer to visit service center for printouts, and importer to present the physical copy of to the customs officer along with the supporting document. Customs officer will share the physical copies for authentication. And importers will present the physical copy to the other stakeholders such as banks, DGFT, etc. Now, system to generate PDF version of EOOC. No physical printout. That PDF will be shared through email, as I already told. And importer will submit all the documents in eSanchit. Importer to email OEOOC to customs officer. Customs officers to use IceTrack for authentication. And IceTrack is a mobile application we are using. And this electronic copy will be submitted to the other stakeholders. And a similar process is for e-gate pass. I don't want to waste time on that. This is the outreach and nudge we are doing, and we are issuing scorecards. And complaints information portal, it is under test, and I would request all the participants to visit that CIP. The web link is given in the slide itself, and give your valuable feedback. I request, because we try to map all the 10,000 plus tariff entries and their compliance requirements for each tariff entries. If a layman also comes to the CIP and types the product, he will be able to know what are all the procedural requirements, starting from IE registration, GST registration, and other regulatory requirements. So I would like to again make a request to especially customs brokers who are attending this, please popularize this. And we know customs brokers are specializing in various chapters. So each chapter, everybody can visit and give their feedback. What is many information? I know many information is missing as of now. We are not able to update the information. So unless we get the feedback how it works, we will not be able to improve. So we please take this request sincerely. And the other reform initiative is port streamlining processes and infrastructure. As we said, DP and DPD, streamlined AEO scheme, direct payment of terminal billing charges to terminal operators, a dedicated 24/7 customs center, priority assessment and examination module at Mumbai, Navi Seva, and use of ICE tabs for spot clearances. So these are all these efforts whatever we made in all the last 4 or 5 years, it has given tremendous results. So we all know last year our ranking of ease of doing business increased tremendously, and especially trading across borders, we jumped to 66 ranks in one single year because of all these initiatives. And last year we climbed from 80 to 68th rank, and this year I think World Bank survey has been completed, and we hope further improve our ranking in trading across borders. So now I'm coming to the final part of my presentation, faceless assessment. You know, faceless assessment is the idea of faceless assessment started in 2017, I think, when Prime Minister addressed in the National Tax Administrators Conference. Both income tax and indirect taxes should go faceless. Main purpose is to reduce human interface. And we started in June 2020 in Chennai and Bengaluru. Faceless assessment core components are faceless assessment groups, port assessment groups, Turant Suvidha Kendras. These three important features are the major components of faceless assessment system. And we have these notifications and instructions for this purpose. Okay. What are the responsibilities of nodal commissionerates? Nodal commissionerates, that is faceless assessment commissionerate. We have identified certain commissioners as nodal commissioners. They are in charge for faceless assessment and audit issues arising out of those assessments, RMS related issues on those chapters. We have introduced in chapter 84 and 85 to start with. And this nodal commissionerate will liaise with port of imports for this assessment related, audit related issues. And they will also interact with the trade. And more importantly, they will function as knowledge hub. For example, if you take China, they have centers of excellence. So in future, India also will have kind of centers like Chennai and Bangalore will be specializing in chapter 84 and 85. Mumbai will be doing some other chapter like chemicals and textiles and so on. So we'll have 6 or 7 knowledge hubs. Simply, if you see, we have groups specialization in each custom house. We started kind of integration in Chennai, combining air cargo and sea customs in the pilot run of faceless. And now we are expanding that concept. Instead of groups in each custom house, we'll have faceless centers with specialization of commodities. And what are all the responsibilities of port of import? They The other bills of assessment will be continue to be assessed by the Port of Import, the regular groups. And more importantly, they are in charge of physical examination of the goods wherever necessary. And there are some minor things, late fee waiver and all will be done by the Port of Import only, not under faceless assessment groups or nodal commissionates. And all the Port of Imports, all the ports of imports, all the customs stations and ports of imports will have Turant Suvidha Kendras. We'll see what are all the procedures of each of them. So procedure, filing of bill of entry with supporting documents. And wherever importer wants, they can have a continuity bond for his regular warehousing or regular provisional assessment of these things. And thereafter, it assessed faceless by the nodal commissioners. In this faceless assessment, any query will be raised electronically and reply also will be electronically along with submission of documents electronically. Then when we can go to recourse, when we have recourse to Port of Assessment, Port of Assessment or Port of Import, whenever first check is required, when reassessment is there, when prohibitions are there, any specific intelligence are there, under Section 49 bonding is done by Port of Import. And in exceptional cases, they can transfer, the nodal commissioner can transfer the bill of entry to Port of Assessment when they suspect or they have a reasonable belief that goods are liable for confiscation, and when the transaction is through related parties and requirement of, and if they need the documents are insufficient for faceless assessment. Similarly, Port of Assessment also, they can pull the bill of entry on specific information, and the nodal commissioners, here I wrongly put in this heading, all the other procedures, speaking order, appeal, review, and all happens, whatever happens today, it will be done by nodal commission. Sorry. So our circular and instruction also, this is for morely for departmental offices, not for the trade as such. So that is about the faceless assessment in short. And when we say e-Sanchit and coordination with other agencies, we have a lot of challenges. We have coordination challenges with the other agencies. We have challenges in coordinating within CBIC. And there is a lot of inertia among our own offices and other regulatory agencies. Other major hurdle in e-Sanchit is beneficiary registration. Even after simplified registration, out of 1.3 lakh serious importer exporters, we have only 35,000 people having authentic email ID. Why this email ID is important is when we say PGA e-Sanchit, the communication goes to the email ID available in the registered, whatever given during registration in the ISGate. So in the simplified registration, we have auto-registered all IE codes and GST registered stakeholders, and that emails are not updated. Update their email IDs in their respective registrations, IE code, directory, or GST registration form, so that it will be reflected in our system automatically. Other challenge we face is dwell time. Different agencies follow different dwell time. For example, if you take animal quarantine, they say their dwell time is almost 0. But how they calculate their dwell time is the moment they receive the payment. And the moment they receive the payment, and for this, importer or broker has to go to the office and then make the payment. And once the receipt is shown, immediately they will give the NOC. This is not actually single window envisages. If you remember one of the earlier slides, we wanted to integrate the collection of fees also through our single window. Act has been amended last year, and the system related processes on. So sooner we will be able to collect all the fees relating to regulatory agencies through our customs portal. And the ultimate aim of our portal is through IceGate. IceGate portal will help or will have the facility for anybody to apply for any certificate, any license, and this IceGate portal will transmit the request to all the other agencies, and other agency certificates also will be available through IceGate. Through IceGate will be the front end for all the customs related processings, like we have GST network now for GST front end operations. That is ultimate, and the IceGate team is working on this. So, and as I already told, we are moving towards borderless. It's a cross-border cooperation and API integration. So with this, I thank you all for your patient listening. And again, I thank AMTOY and FFA for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And hope this brief presentation is of some use to all who have attempted. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a wonderful presentation. Kashish, can you make me the presenter, because I need to share document the question answers.
Sure, ma'am. I'm doing the same. You are now the presenter.
Yeah, I've just listed some of the questions so it becomes easier, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Karmakar, if you can just help read it out and can be responded. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're absolutely audible.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon to all. I convey my heartfelt gratitude to bestowing me with the opportunity to present this studies. I thank you, Dr. M.G. Tamil Valvan sir and Shri Babulal Meena ji for such detailed presentation. I'm sure a lot of queries have been covered in this very presentation. It's a great privilege to be having a senior official from the board enlightening us with a detailed view of major transformation as we are heading into the new era of the digital world. The CBIC have been spearheading the various measures of the digitalization from quite few times, and the current situation has led to taking the implementation of such measures at the helm. Our trade bodies and already taken up n numbers of workshops and seminars to the customs brokers and their employees, focusing on digital measures and need of digitalization the process with the organizations.
Karuna, your voice is cracking. Please put off your video so that your voice will, yeah, perhaps.
Okay. So with the unveiling of Turan Seva Kendra, it was evident that, am I audible right, Shantanu sir?
Yes, now you are good.
Okay. With the unveiling of Turan Seva Kendra, it was evident that we are on the verge of first phase of faceless assessment. And in the same way, we are expecting the rightful implementation of many such phases that are in the pipeline, as explained by Dr. Pradhan. The custom brokers are privileged to be coordinated with almost all the stakeholders in the logistic value chain, we feel it is such interactive sessions that needs to be conducted on regular intervals for understanding the implication of measures that are all will be implemented smoothly. Having said this, a lot of queries have been put across by the members, and for ease proceedings with the better clarity, we have compiled these questions subject to its scope, view, and its implications. So before taking questions from some viewer, we have received some queries from our members also, which I am to take it first. Sir, when single window was introduced, it was decided that if any item forwarded to particular PGA, and if that product is not under their scope, they will mark such base as out of scope. After compiling all such products, single window will stop sending such bill of entry in future to that particular PGA and display all such products for the benefit of the trade. We request to implement this with regular interviews, sir, which is not happening. Can I have response, sir, from Upland?
Yeah, Mr. Meena.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
There is a PGA exemption category actually displayed on the IceGate portal.
Yeah.
So drug controllers goods are there in that, and we have requested other PGAs to give their list, so that the list can be updated, the goods can be included in that list. However, the response from the PGAs are still awaited. So once we track that list of such goods, we will update the list.
Yeah. So, sir, please, please look into this.
While filing the integrated declaration, you can claim the PGA exemption. Bill will not route.
Okay. So please, because that list is only with ADC, I think one list is updated long back. After that,
Yes. To update that, we have written to the PGAs actually, and we need the list of items from other PGAs.
Okay.
WCCB has, I think, informed they don't have any other such goods. Others have not yet responded. So once we get the response from them, we will be able to.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Second, sir, this particularly with regard to FSSA and EQ, these NOCs are forwarded directly to Deputy Commissioner of Customs and not to Superintendent Screen. Sir, in like Nhava Sheva or any other port for that matter, shortage of ACs and they are handling 2255 CFSs at a time. So it is taking time to get NOC from DC first and then they transfer to Superintendent. So our request is that if such NOCs are routed directly to Superintendent Screen, so clearance will be happened on same day. Sir.
No, online NOC should not be going to DC. I think it should directly go to the Superintendent.
No, sir. Now it is going to DC Screen. And
only at JNCH or any other ports?
JNCH particularly, we have noticed this kind of things.
How it can be at JNCH alone? It may not be anyway.
We'll examine. We'll examine this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So third is like PGS has also introduced RMS schemes when single window is introduced. I think except FSSA, no other PGS are felicitating any of bill of entry like RMS. So
I understand this question. I would like to just emphasize. See all the SWIFT related bills. Out of 45 to 50 lakh bills of entry we receive every year, the SWIFT related bills where we require pre-clearance sampling and testing, it comes to about 3.5 lakh bills. That is roughly 7%, roughly 7%, 6 to 7% of the total bills. So just I'm telling the big picture how when we talk about RMS is not there. Yeah, I agree. Ideally, as per TFA, we should have RMS. But in numbers, how it works out, I want to just register in all your minds. It is only 6 to 7% of the total bills which is processed or which requires to be processed under SWIFT. Out of this also, food-related bills constitute nearly 30%. That means it leaves only 5% of the total bills under SWIFT, not under RMS. And then we spoke to drug controller, and we have wildlife crime control also. They are also on board. They are also doing risk-based selection, not all. And when we speak about all the other 6 agencies, we have not spoken to Textile Committee in record. And I have conducted extensive rounds of meeting with drug controller, plant quarantine, and animal quarantine. What they say is nowadays all the countries are giving importance to this human safety related issues. So drug controller and all, they simply refuse. We can't introduce risk-based. We want 100%. Partly, I am in agreement with their this thing also. Even in food, there was one consignment based on provisional NOC. It was cleared, but finally the test failed. What to do with this consignment? Eventually, if it is unsafe goods reaches the human this thing domestic market, it is not good for the population as a whole, and we have to take into account this interest also, what other agencies also.